are live. I feel like we're back.
Yeah.
We're back.
We're going to say
It's
we're
you
back.
and I today. It's you and I today.
Our guests are flooded. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Whiskey and Real Estate. I am Tone, one of the co-hosts here, and we have...
Lucas Burrington Real Estate.
Yeah, and once again, this is Whiskey...
And Real Estate.
Monica gave you a look. You stole her thunder.
Sorry, dear.
He'll hear about that later today.
Hey, if eyes can talk.
All right, what are we sipping on right now? Let's go right to the whiskey.
All right, so this, my dad and I, this is one of our favorites right here. So shout out to Dad. 1792, definitely one of my favorites. It's one of my top three. It's the first time we busted this out on the show. It's definitely one we don't want to have when we're going live because it will burn you. It's got, the flavor is awesome. It's like one of those bold flavors, but it smooths out right away.
Yeah.
So this is, you can't burn this drink. It is, and for ice only drink. Don't mix that thing because this thing's too good. It's named after the year that Kentucky actually became part of the United States.
Oh, nice.
So that's where they came up with 1792. So little history lesson, 1792 is when Kentucky joined the United States. And, you know, they don't even announce on this. And I actually was just trying to read the back of the label to see where they manufactured this, but there's nothing on it that shows where it's manufactured. I'm going to guess, being it's part of the Woodford era, I guess it's probably in that Lynchburg area, the Luxembourg area, but I'm excited when we do that tour. This is definitely one on my list because it's a top 31, that's for sure. So, what's your thoughts? Let's cheers up to it. Let's have a little taste on this.
Cheers.
Mm-hmm.
That is smooth.
It is.
So I think I remember liking the Angel's Envy.
Yep.
And I think this one is better. I can like. Yeah, this is. I'm going for a second sip, which is.
Yeah, it's good. It's smooth. And we need something like this today because, you know, we got some cold weather out there. This will warm me up. I mean, it was 70 degrees yesterday, and it bounces back to the high of 39 today. Yep. So, yeah.
I did a run a couple days ago in some shorts.
Yep.
Today, the hoodie was not enough. It was hailing. Good old Iowa. It's just the most bipolar weather in America. Like one day is shorts, the next day is hoodie, and after that you got to wear your trench coat.
Well, and it's crazy because you talk about Alaska and you talk about, you know, where they have that sunrise for 24 hours and, you know, at one part of the day or one part of the year, and then it's, you know, they get 3 hours of light some other parts of the year.
Yep.
And the weather definitely changes the mood of your buyers and your sellers in the real estate market. The weather sets the tone to what we do on a daily basis too.
Yeah.
Because none of us want to be out walking properties when it is when it's 45 mile an hour winds and.
But those
hailing.
hustlers that go out there no matter what, you know, they get those extra sales that, you know, people didn't work hard enough to get or said, you know what, the weather's bad.
Yeah, I mean, we had a realtor do an open house this morning, and I bet she looked out the window and saw it was hailing. That'd be Monica's sister.
Oh, shout out.
Yes. Shauna B Real Estate.
Yeah. How'd that go? She's in the building. We're going to know.
She's here. How was the open house?
It was good. It was great.
Yeah, and there's still traffic out there. So let's talk. Can we segue into today's market on that?
Let's do it.
So segueing into today's market. So the property that she actually had an open house at, it's been insane, and people need to kiss my ass right now. I'm telling you,
no fact check needed.
Yeah, nothing on this. We posted the property. I think it went live Friday. And we've had to like drag our feet with all the offers that came in on this. So right now in our loop, we have 6 offers. Mm-hmm. And that's not counting, there was probably 6 more, if not more, that talked themselves out of presenting offers all within the first 48 hours of being live.
Yeah.
In 15 minutes
Yeah. As soon as that thing went live, within 15 minutes, there was people already popping showings on it. So market is very it's strong
Active.
right now. Yeah,
It's
it's
active.
active. There's a lot of stuff going on right now. People, this house ended up selling $7,000 over asking price, and we talked about it on the last episode. You know, the other one sold for 20,000, and I lost out on the on the bid that we had in where we were $25,000 over on a place out at Clemish Circle right out by Center Point. So we lost out on that. It was at 289. We went 318 and still got outbid.
What?
Yeah, and so that in there
25K over?
25K over and still got outbid.
Like sounds like the market's booming right now.
So the markets in rates are down. So rates are down again.
Yeah,
So
it's time to buy.
everything we've been talking about,
Yep,
you know,
yep.
here
Tax
it is.
time. We got the you know.
Yep, rates are down. You're locking stuff with fives in front of it now, and that has just really stirred up the market. If your house is priced right, the houses that are overpriced still sitting.
Yeah.
The houses that are out there, you know, that's got a little bit of work, but we're still asking top value, still sitting.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a very educated market out there right now. Inventory is still short. There's still a lack of inventory, especially in that price range. This was like a 175, 185 house that we had multiple bids on. Now the other one was a 289 house that got a lot of bids on it, which we can't. We got another 289 house out there that we can't. The activity. I think there was 48 plus showings on the thing and no offers. So, you know, it's one of those. The market's still very strong. There's still a lot of activity, but it's a very, very educated market. People don't have to buy right now, but want to buy because the rates are starting to drop.
It makes sense.
Yep. Well, and you get the stir crazy people. So the ones that have been waiting for these rates to drop, and now that it's dropping, they're like, okay, is it going to drop anymore? Those are the ones that are still looking. The activity's there. They're looking, but they're still seeing if there's going to be any swing in this market still where it's going to go down. Because if I was a betting man, I am a betting man. So I will bet that this time next week we'll probably see like a 0.15 rate reduction again.
Yeah.
Then it'll get nuts. It's going to start getting real crazy because then I don't think we'll see anything for rate reductions until the end of July.
So you're expecting a 4?
No, not yet. We'll get low fives by the end of the year. We'll be low fives by the end of the year is my prediction. I'm not an economist, but I've been in there long enough to talk
Been
it.
pretty accurate.
Yeah.
And you can fact check these.
Yeah, go back season 1, see where we've been. We've been pretty spot on. Fact check.
A little bit better than your average weatherman right here.
Yeah. Man, talk about being a weatherman. You can be wrong every day and still have a job.
Ow.
Every day you can be wrong and still got a job.
Oh man, were you guys scared on Friday when they were all that derecho talk and?
Yep.
You were not scared.
Well, I was not scared, but our market was. I mean, I don't know how many people I heard from talking about this derecho stuff, but you know what? And we can't laugh about it because look at the destruction it left. It just went further south than what we expected. I mean, Arkansas got obliterated. I mean, there's areas that just got crammed. I mean, complete destructions. I mean, there was 20 tornadoes that touched down.
Ooh.
So now here's a little fact check that we were talking about, and I was rolling around with an investor out of Chicago that's looking to buy in this area, and we spent probably 4 hours together on Friday, and he knew nothing about our market, nothing about the Cedar Rapids market out here, and he was blown away by the time we got driving around. And he said it probably 5-6 times. This is a little hidden gem in the United States.
Where is he from?
Chicago.
Oh yeah,
and
the Chicago prices don't compare to.
Well, and here's the thing of it is okay. So talking about the market, let's talk about what we have here in Cedar Rapids and Marion and so on. Marion, number 1 per capita growth in the United States. Who would ever think Marion, Iowa would be number 1 in the United States for per capita growth?
It's crazy.
Then you get into Cedar Rapids having
U.S. Like of all cities.
All cities in the U.S. Iowa had, I think, 8 in the top 25 of growth per capita. So when you get into Grimes, when you get into Ames area, and you get into Tiffin was top 10.
That's crazy.
But you think of it when you see Iowa City and Cedar Rapids is almost being one now.
Yep.
Because let's be real. If you go residential properties and commercial properties, it maybe goes 5 miles with you out seeing the building. Tops. And from here to Iowa City, there might not be anything under construction for maybe 2 miles.
Right.
So that was the thing that was blowing his mind because in a lot of these bigger cities, construction is stopped. If you drive around Cedar Rapids, Marion, and I drove him all around the four corners of Cedar Rapids, Marion, Hiawatha, Toddville, Robbins, Covington, which no one ever knew what Covington was. You probably don't know what Covington is. Covington, Iowa is literally a town that was like 40 people. And now it's thousands. It's 1,000 people probably now, all within the last 5 years.
Ooh,
Marion over the last 20 years has grown by 58%.
That's crazy.
That is insane. And when you talk about appreciation and your values of properties, our values are still low. So like you could buy a duplex here in Cedar Rapids still for $160,000, $155,000, $180,000, or you can get a nice one for like $245,000. Those same properties are $400,000, $500,000, $600,000 when you go into other markets like Chicago, Seattle, California, LA, stuff like that.
That location is just,
Yep.
I mean, they know the work that you can get in Chicago. I think they have a certain amount of income that they expect you to have. So they just kind of hike the numbers up. Like you can get a 2-bedroom out there for what you have a 5, 6.
So you get into the market and you start talking about it, and you got the 3 colleges that are here. One of them just got a 4-year football team that they've been waiting for, so that's going to increase the enrollment. Then you're going to have Kirkwood, who's actually the 3rd largest college in the state. Well, no one would understand that.
I know that community college.
Yep, community 2-year JUCO college. They dominate in every sport that they're in, girls, boys, whatever not. And why they don't have a football team, I have no idea. Because I'm from that like Iowa Central area, which is another junior college in Fort Dodge. Like I'm from up in that area, and Kirkwood blows that college away. So no offense to Iowa Community College, but I mean, and yet we still don't have a football team on that. But so you got three colleges here. You got 2 main hospitals, and you're within 25 minutes of one of the top hospitals in the world.
Yep.
And so then you got Collins Aerospace, which is one of our biggest employees. And then did you know Cedar Rapids for over 25 years was the manufacturing capital of the world?
What?
Yep. Barilla.
Of the world.
Of the world. Manufacturing capital of the world.
Not just the country.
Just not the country.
What?
Fact check that. Go ahead and fact check that. So, but I'm telling you right now.
That's going to be our new thing. Fact check that.
Yeah. So you got Quaker Oats, you got Barilla, you got your Collins Aerospace. I mean, so you got white collar, blue collar, and then you just keep going down the line of the manufacturers that General Mills. I mean, ADM, I mean, Cargill. When you start going down the list, you're like, holy shit. And everyone wonders why when you look at like the pictures of Cedar Rapids back in like the 1940s and 1950s, all you see is railroad tracks. And that's because we were the hub. We were the hub where everything was getting dropped off, made, and everything like that. And that's what actually boomed Cedar Rapids.
We have a movie, don't we? Isn't there a Cedar Rapids movie with the guy from Hangover?
The guy from
I haven't seen it.
And it's the guy from Office Space, I think.
Yeah, he's in Office.
Yes,
Okay.
Office.
So you haven't seen it either?
I haven't seen the whole
All right,
thing. No.
we got to watch it and see how. I heard they shot it in Minnesota, so like that killed my whole interest.
Boo.
Like,
Boo.
If you're gonna shoot a movie about our city, like shoot it here.
Yep.
Get some jobs here.
So those investors out in Florida that I met on the cruise and so on and so forth that like to listen to our podcast. Shout out to you guys. And Alberta, Canada. We got a couple that are up there that we met on our cruise.
Nice.
That are listening. So hey, you want to talk about hidden gems? Here you go. Cedar Rapids, Marion, and the surrounding areas. And you can go from Marion, Hiawatha, Toddville, Robbins, basically Fairfax, and not even know you left Cedar Rapids.
Yeah.
So that it is coming into a big boom, like where it's just it's insane. And the amount of construction and new constructions that's going on when you hit all 4 corners of Cedar Rapids is unreal. Now that what Highway 151 or whatever is done or whatever that main one is, and it's connecting to the other side to Marion now.
Yep.
That's just gonna cause everything to go poof, pop. Then we get the casino that's coming into town.
Man, we're booming.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of things that people are like, Cedar Rapids. No, Cedar Rapids. Drive down.
And we've known pretty much like it really is a hidden gem. I've told so many people this because. Right now my music is literally everywhere, so I'll bring up some of that stuff. But it's like I'm still not moving. I'm not going anywhere, bro. Like I've lived in Atlanta. I've wanted to live in Arizona, but I start looking at prices for even just condos, and it's way more than when I had a 7-bedroom house. Like,
Yep.
I enjoy the location, but this is home. The community, the people, the education, the hospital, the business opportunities. This really is a hidden gem, and I think that's going to be the theme of this episode. Is just the hidden gem
Yep.
is Cedar Rapids.
Yeah, it is, and you know we've done this podcast for a year and a half, and we've really never got into the whole when we get into marketing. Why here? You know,
Yeah.
why here? Why Cedar Rapids? I mean, we have an obligation to our real estate community and our realtors here to help drive, and there's so much things driving the real estate community right now. I mean, we got the first to first getting built. You know, the first to first is beautiful. That's like your Pickle Palace in the Big Grove area.
Yes.
So they call that first to first, and they're building it from First Street Southeast to First Street Northwest.
Yeah, they
First Street
used a
Southwest
big
is all
area
one.
that I thought was going to be more buildings for parking.
Yeah.
Can you talk to us about why is parking and buying these big lots and just making it for parking so important?
It ain't so much for the growth that they have now, it's what's coming.
Okay.
So a lot of the parking that's getting out of there right now is they know that they're putting a lot of residential, a lot of new residentials going above, like right next to the Pickle Palace and everything like that. They don't want the commercial to overtake the residential parking. So everything that's going to surround it is still going to be pretty much for your residential. So they're making these bigger parking lots for what they're building.
So, like, if I have a 5-year plan to get the new residential housing set up, part of my plan should be, if I see that they're building a big grove here, all right, buy this parking lot now and just price it or like or make it where if I buy this much space for parking, they're gonna have to buy from me. Like,
Yeah.
well, tell me like the strategy behind it.
So this is where I get into you being a knucklehead. So we talked about this about a year and a half ago, or a year when I can't remember when we started shooting here in the studio, and you know we had Rich in here, and we were sitting there talking, and this was after we shot, and they're like, Chuck just got his real estate license, so he's trying to pump everyone up about real estate, which is go Chuck go.
Yep.
And you were talking about buying the building we're sitting in right now.
Yep.
And the ones next to it, and you had the barbershop that was next to it, and you know, like some of the, you're like, man, 2 of these buildings are vacant now, and there's a small residential building right next door, and you're like, what do we do on this? I'm like, man, I understand it's a pain in the ass right now because, you know, you got McKinley School they're trying to figure out what they're going to do with McKinley School, which is right behind you.
Yep.
They were ripping everything out the corner up here. They just were shutting down a couple of the businesses. Looked like a huge, giant mess that was going on.
Yeah.
That's when you would have bought. That's when this should have been bought.
Oh, before the construction.
Before,
Because once they start,
right in the middle when it's a pain in the ass and no one wants it. Because then your prices are down, and you had eminent domain that was going on at that time, and so with the eminent domain, and this is a real estate term we've got into a couple of it, which is government owned property. They come in and say, hey, we're buying off part of your land and part of your parcel. We're going to give you good money for that, so we can create this monstrosity of what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
So now all these roads are going to be brand new. Your sewer systems are all brand new. You got your new retaining walls that are going up and down this area right now. Your corners are brand new, and Mercy's expanding.
Yeah.
So Mercy's is probably all realization where we're sitting right now. Mercy will own, and this will probably be a parking lot.
Damn.
If I was a betting man, 10 years from now, we're sitting in a parking lot.
And as renters, it's like we won't even know that a transaction happened really until it's like, hey, you got 30 days.
Yellow postings on your door. And, it's
you have
true.
been purchased.
Yeah.
The good news is they finished the construction on Mount Vernon Road.
Yeah.
The bad news is
you gotta
construction starts on your location tomorrow. No, we have to get 30 days, right? Mm-hmm. Oh, man. That would be an insane.
But so when you get that eminent domain, they're giving you above market value. So they're throwing stupid money at you at that time. You're going to get the highest value of what your property is. And so whoever owns this right now, if they want to sell it to you, you know, gobble it up at whatever price you can get it at, because it's only a matter of time. And so there's an investor out of Iowa City that I've sat down and talked to the last couple of weeks, and he's also does investing in some Chicago, and he does some investing. He just bought his first 2 properties here in Cedar Rapids. it shouldn't have been bought. These properties shouldn't have been bought. I don't want to manage them. I'm not managing them.
That bad, huh?
Yeah, they're not great. We couldn't, actually we were involved on the other side of it trying to get it off our books.
Damn.
And the only reason he bought it is because of the expansion of the hospitals. He's like, I'm just hanging on to it. I don't care if anyone lives here for the next 10 years. I'm just hanging on to it until it gets tore down.
Yep.
And so that was the reason he made a move on that. I mean, was future causes of the area.
A prediction.
Yeah.
It's a good gamble, though.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Right here specifically. Like, we know that hospital's going to expand. Oh, shit. Well, that got on me.
How many you had?
Tony's got a little bit of 1792 abuse.
Yeah. God damn. Yeah, wasn't a good year for my people. Yeah, please have another cup. That's going on the bloopers.
Gotta edit yourself.
Yeah. Oh my god.
I want to come back and say, what was your people? Just say it. Just say it.
Oh
my
shit.
god. So anyone
1792 strikes again on the block.
If anyone knows who I am, and a lot of my friends and whatnot, I always get to just say it. Just say it. I'm like, I cannot. I will not.
Oh Lord. I didn't know where we were.
We were talking about purchasing properties for future growths and whatnot, and what Cedar Rapids has got going on.
Yeah.
With that casino coming, there's a lot of mixed bags and a lot of mixed feelings about the casino that's coming.
Yeah, I'm so confused at the people upset about it. From what I mean, just almost common sense. Like, a casino creates more jobs, more tourism, more spendage in Cedar Rapids versus me going to Riverside or going to Waterloo to the Isle. Why would anybody vote against that?
So, there's some casinos don't bring the greatest people. And what they're afraid is that what it's going to attract, the type of people it's going to attract. The thing of it is look, real estate is about location.
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking with an investor out of Chicago last week about it, a completely different one. So I'm with a new investor damn near almost every day last week.
Yeah.
And he was trying to buy the duplex that's here in town, and the duplex that he was trying to buy is perfect with the location. I go to him, I go, Song, tell me what's your top 3 things about real estate that you've ever been taught? And he's been in this game for a while. He's like, well, it's location.
Yep.
I'm like, so why are you even questioning what you're buying right now? And I go, because it's an A+ location, so on and so forth. And the funny thing is the guy that was on that property like a month and a half ago calls me and yells at me for selling it. And I'm like, why are you mad at me? Because it was on the market. You had a chance
didn't pull the trigger.
Yeah.
Does that happen often for you?
Yes, I do get yelled at for some of that stuff. And he's like, I just heard the casino's going right down the road. I go, I was telling you the casino was coming.
That was one of the first things I said.
Yeah, that was like one of the first things. This is going to be within 7 blocks of the casino. I go, you could take these 2 units right here, turn them into 4 units, 4 1-beds, and just Airbnb the suckers straight for casino use only.
Yep.
And he's like, man, blah, blah, blah. And the crazy thing is that thing just came back on the market today. So I'm going to call him.
Yeah.
I'm going to call him.
Here's
Here's
most
your
people
chance.
don't get second chances.
Yeah,
Here's yours.
yeah. So
do it. Pull the trigger.
We will be calling, but I guarantee him hauls around again. It's just one of those things.
He's a him whore.
Monique and I went out on a night that we, it was supposed to be our date night. We're going out, and we showed this place on F Avenue. It was a triplex. You remember the 2 investors from California?
Oh, yeah.
And so he was like, I don't know. I'm like, you're buying a triplex for $135,000. I can't find you another one. I cannot. I will not. I cannot. It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And
I wanted it. I own it.
And it was actually in good shape. Like it had 1 unit that was open, and the 1 unit that was open, you could have like a 3 or 4 bedroom up there.
That's what's crazy too. It's like, so it's a triplex. So there's 3 units.
Yep.
Only one's open, so someone's already paying
It's already
the
cash
money.
flowing.
It's already cash flowing.
Yes.
What's your
And
hesitation?
I think the one that was open that people just moved out or just left, and it didn't need much work done to it at all. Like,
Bring that mic towards you a little bit.
if you wanted to upgrade it, you could have, but you didn't need to. You can still move someone in. It was ready to move in, and you could have leased it. And that's what he told them. Like, especially with it being open now, this is your time to raise the rent, because of the simple fact the rent was low, and you can bring it up to a different price and then put it back on there. And they're like, oh no. And I was like,
and they were,
I'll take it.
And they were under contract, so they under contract and walked away from it. And now I want to reach out to them, and in fact, I will reach out to them tomorrow just to be like, hey, you know that F Avenue property you're buying? Yes, it's sold. But do you see where the location of the casino is going to be? 2 blocks away. It's going to be 2 blocks away from that at.
You're calling to rub it in, or what?
Yes, absolutely, because we were telling him that the location was great. I mean, I'm like, you're located right by, they just redid all the roads over in that area. Mm-hmm. All the foundation of this property was redone. All the landscape of this building was done. The parking lot of the building was brand new. So they weren't buying a $135,000 rundown property. I mean, it was nice. Everything from the exterior and curb appeal was brand new. And I'm like, okay, you got paint. So I'm like, all right, so you're going to have another $3,000 to paint, 2 units here. All right, this is going to take a weekend. All right, and now you're ready to fill whatever the heck you want to fill. Okay, you can get rid of 1 unit if you want to get rid of the tenant out of that 1 unit. All you got to do is fill your top unit. Yep. Okay, cakewalk. Fill the top unit. It's 3 bedroom, 1 bath. I mean, that's an easy fill for us at $800 or less.
Yeah.
We could fill that all day long. Probably $750, and he would have been happy. And I didn't understand it. So this is
how many bedrooms in the triplex?
So it's a 3 up, 2 on the bottom 2. So it was 2 on each side. So
2, 2, 3, yeah.
Yeah, 2, 2, 3. Yeah.
Okay.
And then it had laundry in the basement. So it was one of those things that scared money don't make money. And this was a prime example.
You said about $800 a unit?
So no, it was $750 to $800 for the 3-bedroom
stop.
Yeah. And then he was going to pull.
Stop.
Probably
that's worse than scared money. That's
bro. You're going to have an $800 mortgage, and
the person that would even, dude.
1 unit cash flowed it. The other 2 were paying you profit.
Oh, come on.
I mean it's way.
It's less than a no-brainer.
Yeah.
I can write these numbers a million ways, and you're up.
Yeah, I couldn't. I had a real tough time calling that other realtor and telling my guys were backing out because it was like, why? I'm like, I don't get it. I should have bought the damn thing right on the thing. Yeah. Monique and I should have jumped on it right away.
So that brings me to a funny question here. A true story. Our good friend Chuck showed me a great property around the corner from here. Mm-hmm. He calls me and says, Tone, this is a perfect property. The price is low. I know you could raise the funds. I'm not actively looking. I'm very comfortable where I'm at right now, but it's not my own place. So he shows me this place, and I'm falling in love with it. I'm saying, this is going to go here. This is going to go there. I'm selling the house to me better than he's selling it. And that's just, we compete as salesmen anyway. But I really see the vision. A lot of times Chuck calls me with a lot of bullshit.
Right.
Just about life or anything or AI or something, and we'll talk for 2 hours. This time, so he calls me. I'm already reluctant. I walk in there. I'm like, wow, this is not. Oh, this works. Oh, I could do this, and at this price. And now I'm figuring out how I can get it. And he tells me, Toad, you love the property so much, I decided to buy it myself.
You did too.
Is there rules against this?
He'll sell it back to you.
I know he will, because now he's got 2 great locations.
Yeah, he'll sell.
I'm like, it's going to end up in my hands at some point.
Yep.
Or the other one that he's at now, which is also a great house. So I'm happy it's staying within the family. At some point I'll probably get my hands on it. But you were like, damn, me and Monica should have bought it. Like, is there any
reason why you should go get your real estate license? See, you just sold Chuck his own house.
I swear, that is a great point.
Yeah, you'd be surprised how many people you came across that bought a house in the last year and a half.
So how does that work, especially with you guys? Like, you're showing it, it's a no-brainer. These guys are going to flip it. Like I said, the numbers are dancing immediately. And when they back out, what stops you from, okay, we'll show you. We'll do it ourselves. Like,
there ain't going to be anything that stops us after this year. You heard our I we've already put.
He said that was our last.
Yeah, we've already put closure on a lot of stuff this first quarter.
Yeah.
And our goal this next week is to finish the end of first quarter and have everything pretty much closed out from our past.
Okay.
And so we're going to get real aggressive. So that won't happen again. We'll raise money. We'll figure it out how we got to do it. It's going to happen. Yeah. But, so I give my example of why I didn't own real estate, why I didn't own investment properties for so many years is because I had 4 or 5 right out of the get-go when I got rolling, and I started, helping investors and doing that. And then it turned into this company. And now it's a company instead of me just doing a hobby of, helping investors out. Yeah. I thought I was going to be a real estate agent that, maybe had 4 or 5 investors, manage, 15 to 20 properties. Mm-hmm. And then it...
Where are you now?
Yeah, here we are now. So
give us numbers. You thought you'd have 4 or 5. Where are you now?
We're teetering on about 400 properties right now and 60 some odd investors probably.
Just a little higher than the 4 or 5 you predicted.
Yeah. I mean, so we're teetering. It fluctuates every month, every quarter.
Yeah.
We're going to get in aggressive mode April 1st where we're going to start really recruiting investors. But when we had a couple properties right as I started, I had 2 of my close friends come ask me. They're like, "How do I know you're filling your properties before ours?" Mm-hmm. And then how do we know you're not cherry picking these deals? And that was an eye-opening thing for me. I'm like, you're right. I'm in real estate for the long haul. It ain't about me. It is about, us. It's about, real estate. If you create a team and you create the camaraderie amongst realtors, bankers, investors, clientele, they'll market for you. Mm-hmm. And they did. We never put a sign in the yard for AMMT up until 2019 when Damon started coming on, and that's my son. And
that was after 10 years of
it was already 7 years in. Okay, and so I never had a real estate. I never had a billboard. I never had a sign. Everything that I even put for real estate had Jeremy Trendcamp on it. Mm-hmm. So, and it just had a phone number at the bottom that was me. So if you called, you're like, "Oh, this ain't Jeremy. This is Lucas." Yeah. Hi. Yeah. And so it was all word of mouth that grew it, and it's because I made that decision. And so I told them, I said, "You know what? If you have that fear that I'm taking care of my properties over yours, buy mine out. Here's my HUD statement." I bought them. And they did. They bought them. And they did. So that was kind of my eye-opening experience of why I don't jump on those deals. Yeah. Because if I keep giving the good deals to my good, what they don't call loyal clientele, if I keep building them up, then I'm going to get built up too. Yeah. I mean, so we're in a different groove now going into, this after this first quarter where now it is I'll pat your back if you pat mine type situation. Yeah. Take care of the ones that mean something. So that we've talked all year, shrink your circle, know.
Yep, absolutely.
Put your efforts in the ones that matter, and, if you do that, you'll be great. I mean, and in real estate, we've said it for 6 seasons now?
Yeah.
If you're there to chase a commission check, you're in it for the wrong
reason.
Yep.
So that brings me to a tougher question, and I'm going to play devil's advocate, and also I can advocate for you. But you have your own properties. You kind of know most of your clients. I won't say all your clients. You know your clients. Are there? This is the tough question. We might have to edit this. I don't know what your answer is going to be. When you know the person, and you have a unit available, but you don't really want to work with them on the business level, are you just putting them to the other properties that just want to be filled? Like, how are you not cherry picking? Like,
you can't. I mean,
sorry, I can't even ask it right. So yeah, the question is like, how do you?
It doesn't exist. So
where do you draw the line?
So let me rephrase that. It does exist too much, and it's one of those faith, family, friendship type thing. Mm-hmm. In faith, family, and friends. I mean, the friends don't mix real well in business. So it's the friendships do though. Mm-hmm. So again, if you're going with the FFF or the FFR, it's faith, family, and relationships.
Right.
It's one of those things that it doesn't even cross my mind. It's what unit fits this client. And then we got to get into make it someone else's fault, and we've talked about this a lot. If we get into those hairy situations where we're like, man, I want to fill this property over this property, that thought does cross your mind. I mean, you might get your ass chewed from this investor, and you're like, well, fuck this guy's property for a week type situation. But you can't ever have that thought process. It better go in one, out the other, and then you need to put it on the onus of that. So we ran into a situation. It's funny you say that because we just ran into a situation where, one of our showing agents is like, we need to put this person in this property. We need to put this person in the property because she had a relationship of some type with this client that was applying.
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, let's run it by the owner. Mm-hmm. And of course, the owner's like, I only want 12 months. I want this credit score or higher, so on and so forth. So it ended that conversation immediately. So make it someone else's fault. If we get into those hairy or gray situations where our heart's in it and we need to do this and need to do this, I feel we should always result back to the investor.
But then does that hurt your relationship with the client? Like, dang, dude, that's my girlfriend. You can't get her in.
Not my call.
I called the owner.
I called the owner of this property, so on and so forth.
He's not going for it, bro.
And you know what? The bigger issues we get into are the ones that we actually put emotion into. Yeah. If you look at our evictions over the last 14 years, I'm going to tell you straight up, a lot of them I already knew who they were before they got there. And it's always the ones that that screw you the most.
Yeah.
Ooh. So I'd rather not have a clue who you are.
Yeah.
Give me
now I'm thinking, damn, I should never rent through Lucas. I've never, me myself, I'm like never late on rent or anything, but like I would hate for life to happen and we talk daily and you would know that life's happening, but you have to go with the business. It has to. I feel you. I'm sorry that happened to you, Tone. The eviction's still on its way.
It's tough. We're dealing
Hope we can still podcast on Wednesday, but I gotta have you out of there by Tuesday.
I'm dealing with it exactly right now.
Oh, that sucks.
It does.
Oh, man.
And this is where I just got to release the hounds. I got to
but it's almost
let Monica have her way and do.
Oh, yeah. She likes being the bad guy. And she's good at it.
We got into a fight about it this weekend. Me and her had a relationship fight over the situation. And I'm just like, I shot my warnings out. I go, just give me till Monday so I can shoot my warnings out. And she's like, I'm posting a 3-day notice on Monday. I'm like, no, you're not. I go, let me shoot.
That's the homie. Come on.
Yeah, let me shoot. Let me shoot my warning shot. And so I did. I shot my warning shot on Monday. Now we're on Wednesday. Still no payment. Now
so it's going up on Friday.
Yep. So
that was her sympathy. She allowed.
There was no sympathy. Absolutely not. There was love for her man, and that was it. Because if there was sympathy, that does not exist in her world with this business. No, that is not edited. That is one
Keep
thing.
That in there.
Investors,
business is business.
Yes, Monica is my investor's best advocate. I mean, there ain't no doubt about it. So, and it's crazy you bring these examples up because you and I are the same people when it comes to our heart.
Yeah, yeah. I know how tough that is, and that's also why I was like, I'm gonna ask this tough question about are you cherry picking? But it works both ways. Like I could see, hey, Lucas, I need a place, and you're telling me go through this investor, and I'm like, why wouldn't you put me in a AMMT? Let's just not even go there, Tone.
Well, yeah, it's I want to help you if you need it. I got you type situation. But hey, let's see what Avenue A looks like first.
Yeah. Let's not. Yeah, dang.
And you know what? It's
people would never consider this like
employees are the same way.
Let me work for you, Lucas.
Yeah,
you work for me. At some point, I may have to fire you. That's the reality of.
We had a situation within the work environment, where we had a family member come on wanting to do some work with another family member, and one of them was directing the other. And I had literally my very first meeting with them. I walked in and I'm like, man, I love you too much. I love you too much. I want nothing to do with this.
Oh, you can't do that.
And so I'm going to tell you again.
That is so how I would feel, but I know you can't do that.
But I let it know right out of the. I'm
waiting on my moment.
Yeah. So I laid it out right out of the gate because I've already been there, done that.
Yeah.
I've been there and done it with family already.
Yep.
So it doesn't mix. It's a really tough pill to swallow, especially in the property management business and maintenance business and construction and real estate.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like when an insurance guy calls for your business. Yeah. And I get insurance guys calls me all the time, especially guys that are just getting out of college or someone that I've coached over the last 20 years. Yeah. Guess what, coach? I'm now selling real estate or I'm now selling insurance, whatever it is. And my first words are to him, don't talk to me until you've been in the field for at least 2 years.
Right. Don't ask for that opportunity until you're
because I'm going to be pissed and we're going to lose this relationship because I'm going to bring my business over to you.
Yep. And you weren't serious.
And you're not going to be here 2 years from now.
Yep.
And, it so reminds me of when I was in college and I went and worked at the car dealership, Mm-hmm. And I'm just trying to earn that extra dough. I enjoyed the hell what I did. I was kicking everyone's ass selling cars, and it carried over in a future business that I was doing as well. And I'm like, man, no one will talk to me here. And there was a guy I was playing college ball with that just graduated. He was a couple years older than me, and I pulled him off to the side. I said, man, you got to tell me why.
What's up, bro?
Why am I getting cold-shouldered by everyone?
Yeah.
He's like, man, we come and go. He goes, unless you've been here a year, he goes, they're not even going to talk to you.
Damn.
You're coming in here for 6 months, stealing their business and leaving. And that's how these guys that have been here for multiple years at these dealerships or realtors, I mean, it's the same thing. I'm one of those rarities where I like to take the realtors as they're coming in, groom them, train them, make sure they're learning and they get to see everything we go through. So they're learned right. So let's just say Shauna B over here goes and decides she wants to go sell for a different real estate company. I know when she calls me, I'm in a good transaction because she's seen it. Mm-hmm. She knows how it works. She's seen the flow of it. Mm-hmm. Where if I get a realtor that I'm going to work with and I see on the other side that just started with XYZ real estate company, knowing they don't train their people, knowing they don't put them, they just throw them out to the field and say, go figure it out. I know that transaction, I'm going to have to do the whole damn transaction. And I probably don't even want to talk to that realtor through this process or try to figure out what they're trying to figure out. And that's what it is. And real estate is literally trying to figure it out on the fly unless you have someone that's going to sit there by your side and be like, okay, you and I are doing this transaction together until I feel you're comfortable being on your own. Because the last thing I ever want to do is run into another person that I despise of that don't know what the hell they're doing. And my first reaction is I need to call that broker because that broker hasn't trained their people. So
I feel like also on that, there's people that may work for you. Talk to us about commission versus hourly. Like there's some places that, I don't want to work with Lucas because it's only commission based. I'd rather go here that's hourly, but they're probably making a lot less, getting less hands-on interactions. Like, talk to us about that.
So, salary and hourly are what's that? Man, what's that saying? They're just the carrot that dangles in front of you that always holds you back. So that's what it is. If you want to go hourly, you want to go salary, all you're doing is putting yourself to a limit. This is where you're at. Because no business is going to pay you unlimited hours. No business is going to pay you unlimited salary. You're going to be capped no matter what it is, whether it's 15, 30, 40 hours a week or whether it is $30,000 a year or $40,000 a year or $60,000 a year. You're capped.
Yep.
So all it is just a barrier. It's something that's holding you back.
Damn. Okay, he is a salesman.
And so if you want
I'm sold on commission.
So if you want that, go ahead, take that. Here's your hourly rate. This is what you're going to make. This is all I can provide.
This is what you're worth.
If
you look at it that way, you'll never want to work hourly again.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's one of those things, like when I started doing property management, just because of the structure I had, and I was working for another brokerage at that time, I couldn't have any rent checks made out to Lucas. Mm-hmm. I couldn't have it out to me until I started my own little area. So, like, when I'd have my biggest investor that had 100 and some odd properties, every rent check that I collected that month, every lease that I signed, everything it was made out to him.
Yeah.
So illegally, I could take that money, put it at my office, put it in a brown envelope. It's all made out to him. He picked it up on a monthly basis. Mm-hmm. And that was it for 7 years. And then we started getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I'm like, man, I need to have a trust account. I need to do this.
Yep.
I need to branch off on my own type situation, have my own location, do this, do that. And so then the checks started getting made out to me. Yeah. And then it becomes a different world. But as I was doing those checks where they're made out to them, that also means I couldn't charge them a property management fee. Because I wasn't holding their money in a trust account. I wasn't doing their balances. I was collecting for them. I was doing lease signings for them. So I charged them an $800 lease fee. So, and they paid it because I kept them full.
Yeah.
And so right now our agents are getting paid hourly with $150 lease fee type thing because we can only charge so much because we manage their stuff. So we make a management fee too.
Yeah.
I wish I could go back to that business model where we were charging $800 for a lease filling, and we were, not only was I feeling for the guys that we had, I was feeling for everybody else.
Yeah.
So I was filling rental properties for everybody else. Laws came out and says you can't really do that anymore unless you work through a brokerage that has a management. And so you want to talk to me about hourly versus salary versus commission? If you go back to anybody in my life, the first 13 years of my career being a banker, a CEO, they knew damn well the only reason I was doing it is because I had the guaranteed money that was going to pay my bills at that time.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to get any growth out of it. I wasn't going to keep growing into where I needed to be, where I wanted to be, until they released that chain. And when they released that chain and said you're commission only, that's when it just that's skyrocketed.
Because at that point, you tell yourself what you're worth.
Yeah.
And I think that's the big difference. And you just helped me break the mold, even in my business, because, I get people that work for me where they're an assistant, they work the door, they do bottle service or something like that, and they want an hourly. And I'm like, I don't even get paid hourly. But the more you hustle, the more you're going to make. Yep. I've had door girls that just sit there and do nothing and don't interact with anybody. And then they're like, well, why did I only make $20? You didn't sell anything. This is a L for me. Yeah, it's only $20, but you sold nothing. Then I've had door girls that I sold everything on the table. Well, keep half of the money, keep this, that, whatever percentage just feels right. Because we made out, and like I said, you put your own worth, you put your own passion, you decided how much you were worth that day. Not you were just assigned a role, and at 14 an hour, 15 an hour, 20 an hour, I'm going to just do what I'm told. But also, I'll be more hands-on to help you make more commission because the business grows more with that commission.
Well, and it's crazy because, when you get into the real estate world, anything real estate, anywhere you go, they don't offer the hourly. They don't offer any of that stuff. So what we offer where we're at is very unique. Mm-hmm. So we offer the ability to learn on the job and still get paid for some of that learning curve. Yep. But we're also giving an opportunity for error. So when you're filling rental properties, you're getting to talk to multiple people. You're learning your pitch in the meanwhile, and you're still getting the opportunity to make some money here and there.
Yeah.
Where in real estate, when you get your real estate license and you just go to these brokerages, it's just like, go.
Yeah.
You mess up on that client, you lost thousands and thousands of dollars. Where with us, you can retain that client within a rental thing, and then by the time they're ready to buy, you're ready for them.
Yeah.
And now not only did you get it where you had an opportunity to build your clientele, but you get the opportunity where you're building your growth. Mm-hmm. And you're building your foundation for future. And that is the reason why you go work for Lucas. I mean, that is the reason.
Yeah.
Go to a different company. Go ahead. I ask anyone that walks into my office that wants to talk real estate, go talk to the next real estate company. And just then come back to me and tell me how many leads they're providing you. Well, I got to pay this dollar amount for this type of leads. You don't got to do that here. I'm going to pay you for the leads that are coming in based off rental applications and this and that and another. Yeah. I'm giving you a lead source, and I'm paying you to use my lead source.
Yep.
So when someone comes to me and they want to say, why can't I have 35 hours? Why can't I do this? I'm like, okay, pay me for your leads then.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yep.
Okay, I'll give you 35 hours, but I want you to pay me $400 a month for your leads. Mm-hmm. Because when I pay for leads, or when I'm paying for my advertising, I pay Zillow almost $2,000 to $3,000 a month. Yeah. That's just one lead source that brings us applications in from the rental side.
I tell people that all the time. Like, dude, you ask for, hey, I need a guarantee. And I'm like, I don't have a guarantee. I'm renting the venue. Normally you pay a DJ. Luckily, I learned how to DJ to avoid that cost.
Right.
We go out, we get sponsors, we do advertising. I wish that was on camera. I'm going to have to go through the cards. He just tried to pour ice with the lid on it. But the thing is, like, we are making so many investments on the back end, it makes the operation run smoother. So when they ask for something off top, and it's like, I've already invested in you before you even knew you were going to be a part of this operation.
Yep, and it's such a true story because and I talk to Monica about this every day. It seems like for like the last week is don't judge me by the chapter of my book you walked into.
Yep.
Because you don't know what the full story looks like.
Yep, exactly.
And we deal with that in our line of business every day. And it's not fair. You're right. It's not. There's nothing fair that's in our world. I mean, in a commission world, it's cutthroat. There is no fairness.
Mm-hmm.
Fairness is a weakness in a lot of people's eyes. Oh, this guy just wants to make sure it's fair. No, shit.
But you also get to make the rules.
You do.
In the commission world, you are your own boss. How much effort you put in there is how much you make. Versus, again, someone telling you you're worth $15 an hour. And it ain't just, all right, I can get $15 an hour at this job. That's decent money. That'll pay the bills. You need to look at your hours as not just time you're spending there, but time you're spending away. And
right.
that's when I decided to go in to business for myself. Is I looked, we had a meeting at GoDaddy, and the supervisor's like, we need to do some icebreakers and get to know your neighbor, because at the end of the day, you'll spend more time here with us than you will your own family. And he said that as words of encouragement, and I was like, why the fuck am I here with you motherfuckers? And not my, at the time, like 1-year-old daughter or my wife or like, that's insane. So I could have the security of hourly, but now that I make my own dollar every day, I decide how much money I'm going to make today. I decide how lazy I'm going to be, how hardworking I'm going to be, how much time this is a day for me and the girls. I can decide that at any moment, any day, and move everything around, and there's nothing more freeing than that. So
well, and that's why I get our original conversation about that property that had 6 offers or whatever, not or so on and so forth. And this is why I say everyone can kiss my ass, is because I was literally sitting at a track meet. Yeah, I was literally sitting at a track meet, and I have 0 receptions because it's an indoor track meet, and I got these people saying I want a response in 3 hours. And then I get the text messages from their client.
And real quick, I got to interject. He's at this track meet. Lucas don't run track.
No,
who you at the track meet
I'm
for?
with my daughters.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm with my daughters. It's my daughter's a freshman. She's throwing shot put varsity. So she's throwing against all these juniors and seniors. She's freaking the hell out. She's nervous as hell.
But it's also impressive the fact that she's even, varsity. She's throwing with juniors and saying, let me enjoy this moment, this piece of life that I worked so hard for, but also comfort my child that I'm here for.
Well, it's a huge track meet. I mean, it is at a college campus. It is, you got college recruiters all the way around this thing. They're checking out this, that, and another. My daughter is looking up in the stands as she's warming up, trying to get dad's acclimated. Am I doing this right? Type of situation.
Yep.
My girl, you already put the hard work in to get to where you're at. Don't worry about me.
I'm so proud of you, and you're about to kill it.
Yeah.
But let me give her that acknowledgement versus she looked at me for that eye contact of acknowledgement, and I'm looking at my damn phone because...
Well, and so every time she looked away, I'm literally picking up the phone. I'm just like, blah, blah, blah.
We have to, and it sucks.
Yeah, and I'm like, you know what? I'm in an indoor track meet, and on my way home, I start getting these messages that the realtor is shooting from their person. Like, we understand he's busy. And here's the crazy part. Our seller's on vacation in Branson. He ain't even local right now. He's on vacation. Mm-hmm. So, and we made that very clear this weekend that, like, hey, you know, it might take a little bit for a longer return. And they're giving 3-hour response times.
Yeah.
And then they're getting pissed when it's getting close to the response time. And I'm like, hey, I haven't heard back from this guy yet. Mm-hmm. I'm still at this track meet, though. And they're like, why haven't you responded per email? I go, I have called you. We've talked. We've done this on the phone. And I am about to lose my shit. So
it's so hard when you've repeated yourself multiple times.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, so we get back. I'm dropping my other daughter off at her car. We're getting back into town. And Benika's working the night shift, so she's working until 10:30, 10 o'clock that night. So we're making sure all kids are good. We got 6 kids between the two of us. So we're making sure all kids are good. I step out of the house to take this phone call because I'm going to lose it on this realtor. and the kids don't need to hear this right now because I'm about to lose it. Yeah. And I step out on the back deck and I go, how about you put your clients on the phone with me right now? Mm-hmm. And he's like, well, no. I go, why are you going to share their text messages with me then? Yeah. Because you need to, as a realtor, and again, a realtor that hasn't been trained, I'm like, as a realtor, you need to control the situation.
Exactly.
You need to understand and set the expectations. You were told I was in an indoor track meet where there was 0 receptions. Yep. You were told this guy's on vacation, and he's an older guy. He's 65 years old. Yep. He may not respond to us tonight, yet you're still going to put a 3-hour response time, and you're going to sit there and look at me as if I'm the bad guy because my seller has not called me back yet. Yep. Yet I'm still communicating with you on the 20-minute basis.
I'm doing everything and more within my power, and I've already set the expectation that I was not going to be available.
So I said, how about you call your guys, put us on a conference call? And he's like, I don't want you talking to my clients. I'm like, so why are you shooting me their message?
Yep.
Okay, so here's what you need to respond back to me. If this is how we're going to go, Mr. Realtor, this is how it needs to go. Respond back to your client. Said if your client's offer was strong enough to begin with, which this is a dig at the realtor.
No, facts.
If you would have your client had a strong enough offer to begin with, we wouldn't have worried about it back and forth.
Yep.
You didn't need to worry about a response from us because you put this offer in a year ago, or not a year ago, a day ago, and now you want to get into a counter situation, and we're countering back and forth because you came low.
Yep.
We got 6 offers.
You gave us a weak ass offer.
Yeah,
you're insecure. You're
now
scared, but you want this property.
Yeah.
So why did you come with the weak offer?
Yeah.
This is not my problem.
Yes.
Let me enjoy this track meet.
So I told the realtor, I'm like, why didn't you come with a stronger offer? Tell your people that. Why didn't? Well, I'm not going to say that to them.
Then stop communicating.
Stop bothering me.
There's no further conversation. And that's like.
And here's the crazy thing, Tone. Let's go full circle to our last episode.
Yes.
When it got so before we
got a little off the rails.
So we got to the last episode, and this market just hit the property the day after this episode. That was at the last one. So we get an offer accepted by this or rejected by this guy. Mm-hmm. So one of the guys that keeps putting an offer in. Mm-hmm. So we get this offer. We send over the rejection or the counter offer saying we're going to counter this. The counter offer comes over 2 hours before he gets the thing that says we're countering.
Yeah.
So he knows we're already countering because he has a counter offer in hand, which puts the purchase contract null and void.
Yep.
It puts the purchase contract null and void. So that he received the counter offer at 2:30 in the afternoon. Then he received the purchase agreement that says we're countering 2.5 hours later. He already knew we were countering.
Yep.
So it was getting done on a phone. We left 2 boxes to be marked on it, and we clicked on our phone. It was all mushed together. It said acceptance on it. Mm-hmm. So we had to go back, and he's like, "Hey, I think your guy and yourself marked the wrong box." I go, "You're right. We did. We had to change within seconds." So within seconds of a call, he calls me back 2 hours later saying, "You know what? That acceptance that was checked. We're taking that one instead of your counter offer." I'm like, "No, that's not how this rolls."
Yeah.
And he's like, "No, this is what we're going to do." I'm like, "Hey, you do not have an accepted offer here. There was a counter offer. Either you can reply to this counter, so on and so forth." He's like, "No, we're going back to this acceptance. I was back here." I'm like, "Nah, that's not how this works."
Yeah.
I'm like, we can go that route, but we're not going to have a deal put together because my guy's just going to put a cancellation. So sure shit, the next morning, my guy, he's like, if this guy wants to play hardball, we're going to put a cancellation out there.
Oh, shit.
So we signed a cancellation, says we're canceling this purchase contract. And I called this, and Monika and I are switching phones this whole weekend for the whole family. So we got 9 phones getting changed out from US Cellular to
They got to
AT&T.
start considering how many years you've done this. Like, you can see a dick measuring contest coming a mile away.
Oh, Lord.
Hey, I know exactly where this is going to go because I've seen it hundreds of times.
Well, the first thing this guy says is, "I'm getting he goes, my broker's already looked at this." I'm like, "Wait a second. You were within 20 minutes of going and your broker's already seen this? You don't know what the fuck you're doing then." That's what that means.
Yep.
So, okay, I said, and I'm a broker. A lot of these people don't know that I'm a broker. They just see Burrington Real Estate on it. They don't pay attention to Lucas Burrington.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, just have your broker call my broker. and
You did not say that.
That's exactly. He just started laughing as I'm walking.
You know what? I'll put my broker on the phone right now.
Yes.
Hello.
So I said, please have and so I said, please have your broker call my broker. And so he put us in a group chat. And Joy's the
What's
broker.
Your broker's number. Copy and paste my number.
And Joy goes, "Rod, he is the broker." and so I started laughing. I'm like,
oh man.
I go, here's the bad situation, and this is why you don't chase that damn commission check. This guy's got one client only. He's trying to figure out how to get into this deal.
Yep.
He took the wrong approach on it, and that's exactly what I said. Rod, I'm trying to help you through this process.
Yep.
I go, because I'm going to tell you right now, if we continue on where it is, and my seller has to do a cancellation on this because you're being a douchebag about this, your buyer still wants to buy this house. Mm-hmm. He's going to get eliminated from this whole equation because there's 6 other people that have offers in on this right now. And he goes, "Are you serious?" I'm like, "I'm dead serious, man." I go, You've put this guy through the last 8 hours of hell. He's worried about legal consultation right now because you decided to do this, 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 and this. Where all it was a clerical error. You announced it was a clerical. We had it fixed within minutes.
Yep.
You already had a counteroffer, which was null and void to your purchase contract. Anyone that's doing purchase agreements and counteroffers out there, a counteroffer automatically cancels the purchase agreement.
This goes to
that's a
everyday
test
life, dude. I will take less money because the person respected me. When I feel disrespected, I don't care what the offer is. Like, I've walked away from great situations where, you know, I'm the highest paid DJ in town, and I can do in one night what most DJs have to do an entire month. Once it got disrespectful, I'll figure it out another way. It doesn't matter to me anymore.
So you know, Tone, you are 100% correct on that because we're going to do the right thing at the end of the day.
Yep.
But we've been there, we've done it. So I'm trying to educate this other realtor, and I'm just like,
we're about to go there.
I'm like, man, you do understand that this guy you know this investor.
Yep.
Joy, you know who this investor, that's the broker that he got involved. I'm like, you know this investor don't give a shit about us. He doesn't want any headache. This guy does, he's done thousands of houses over his, you know, and he'll tell you everything he's done over the last, since he was 26 years old.
Yep.
You're going to screw up this whole deal for your buyer.
Yep.
We're not here to have a measuring contest.
At all.
I'm here for my seller, you're here for your buyer.
Yep.
The minute you lose that and you want to battle, and we've talked about this on many episodes when realtors want to puff their chest in battles, you screwed your seller and you screwed your buyer.
Yeah.
And that's what I tried to explain to this guy. I'm like, man, all you got to do is just let's continue on. Create the negotiation. The counter offer's already been shared to you. Just counter the counter.
Yeah.
If you don't like what it is, keep your hand in the ballpark. But the minute you want to pressure this guy and say you need to sell this at a $15,000 lower offer, this guy came in $10,000 lower than asking price within 15 minutes of this being on the market. My guy laughed. He didn't even want to reply. That's why the counter was set before the other purchase agreement was, because my guy didn't even want to counter this guy.
No.
I'm like, Steve, you know the situation. Let's go back and forth with this guy.
Yeah.
You love the art of negotiation.
What?
So let's go back and forth.
Don't lose where you're at. But when is an appropriate time to come in lower than the asking price? And I know, without knowing too much, 15 minutes is not that. Is it a week? Is it a month it's been on the market? Okay, I can come in lower. I know it's not 15 minutes.
It goes back to our first 10 minutes of every segment. Know the market. So if the market is a dead market, if it is negative 13 degrees out there and there is no one buying houses, come low.
Yep.
You're not the only. If you're the only buyer out there that's putting an offer on this, let's come low. Let's go.
Yep.
But if you're in the hot part of the market where we are right now, we talk about the market every week.
Yep.
It's not right now a buying market. It's a seller market right now because if you price it right, you're going to have multiple bids on every property.
Yep.
So your realtor needs to be able to tell you what the market is. So if your realtor doesn't know the market, you're going to come in $10,000 low and you're going to say peace out to your offer.
Yep.
And so it's all about just knowing your market, man. That is the time and place where you want to start making your lowball offers is what the market dictates. So know your damn market. But anyways, back to that situation.
Yeah.
The guy finally calls me because after he finally talked to his buyer, the thing is with .loop, you get to be, and that's the
DocuSign.
Yeah, it's how you DocuSign. It tracks all the history of when someone opens a document, closes a document, views a document. It doesn't just track when you sign it. It has an activity history to it. Yep. So I can see when his broker opened it. I can see when he opened it. The broker didn't open it until 5 hours after he said his broker was involved. So the broker was just going off his word.
I already seen it.
Yeah, I go, Rod, I already know when your broker opened
We
this.
got receipts.
Yeah. and then he got into the situation where he's like, well, this is, so now we've already had this conversation. Broker's already been involved. I already gave him the warning sign. I'm like, you're already screwing your buyer over on this situation. So he sends the cancellation back after my guy sent this cancellation. My guy's pissed he has to send a cancellation because there should have never been one.
Yeah.
So he signs it, 24 hours later.
Because he didn't want to sign it.
And because he didn't want to get his broker and him to sign it. And so anyways, now what do you think the situation's going on? His buyer finds out about all this.
Yep.
What's his buyer want? He's like, why aren't we negotiating? And now his buyer submits an offer in, which is now there's been 6 offers that came through in the period of time of this guy doing it.
Yep.
Now his buyer doesn't stand a chance.
At all.
At all. My guy A does not want to work with that brokerage.
Yep.
B, he's furious.
Yep.
Anything that says this brokerage name's on it, and he's like, peace, I don't want nothing to do with it. And we got 4 better offers that came in the meanwhile.
And it's also bigger than that too. Like, it's important about how you represent your client, because when they work with you again, it's like, oh, here's a guy that'll send you a cancellation. Like,
Yeah.
I can't take you as serious as another investor or a buyer.
Well, and knowing the temperature in the room's huge, because my investor, he's been doing this for so long. He's had how many cancellations sent to him that said, I'm walking away from this deal. So when my guy gets to fill out a cancellation and says, peace, I want nothing to do with you, he's chomping at the bit, because it's like a little payback that he's had over the last 40 years.
Oh, Lord.
So he's like, man, I can't wait to fill this cancellation out. And the guy's first thing the other guy says is my lawyer. And I'm like, cool, our lawyer, we're done.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're good with this.
Anymore.
Yeah, we're good. And he's like, are you serious? I'm like,
let your guy talk to my guy. I'm not going to stress about this.
Yeah, we're cool. My guy's cool. He doesn't care if it's going to cost him a G or not. He's like, he's cool. Peace out. Take your earnest money, gone.
Yep.
But so, yeah, it's kind of that full circle thing. And, we wanted to talk about a situation we got into, but we ain't even going there now.
No. I feel like next episode, because you even touched on laws changing, and we got to talk about some legal stuff that you're experiencing that is just a part of the game.
It is.
Even when you do absolutely nothing wrong, there will likely be a situation you're in, and you'll have to pay, and it's crazy.
It is crazy. The next episode's going to be wild, because we might be live, but we might bring some tequila into the situation.
We might have a guest.
We might have
actually, when we get to the legal stuff, I don't want to guess. We got to be able to get through that, because this is your story, your experience. So we might not have a guest when we talk about that, but just know these next episodes, guests, tequila and whiskey, we're bringing some people back, bringing some new people, bringing some people we worked with that we've enjoyed working with. We might bring in some people we have not enjoyed working with.
That is so true. I have an idea of guests that we got coming in, because one thing y'all don't know out there is we get called on the weekly of saying, hey, how do we get onto your guys' podcast? And there's every once in a while, there's stuff that goes on into our market that Tone and I need to look at each other, and we're like, you know what, this is probably just a me and you thing.
Yep.
But there's also, because there's so much that needs to be talked about. I mean, and you've seen it with this episode, where we got to talk about all the markets. We got to talk about how the weather affects the market. We got to talk about.
I love that we talked about Cedar Rapids this episode, and how this is a hidden gem. That's so important, because that's not only home to us, but it really is some place that needs to be recognized. When we're looking at prices from Chicago to Cedar Rapids, from LA to Cedar Rapids, hey, you can get house insurance here. Can't do that in a lot of places we talk about nowadays.
Well, and a lot of the reasons why these investors look into these areas is also because of the laws. So we don't have moratoriums. In fact, where Chicago has moratoriums still going on today, there's moratoriums going on in Chicago and Seattle where you can't evict people. So that's not happening here. Yeah. So, I mean, there's so many.
Wait, is the moratorium where if I buried a family member or someone loved in my house that I don't have to...
No, that's the old. So moratorium is basically it's dead. So you can't do something during it's a dead period. So moratorium is off limits. So like in September of last year, VAs came out that active November 1st. There was a moratorium where anyone that went in foreclosure during that period of November 1st through a period of time of last year, you couldn't foreclose on them. So we went in it during COVID. I went through like a 30-day moratorium, something like that. It was a little longer than that, but where you couldn't evict anyone. And so people's like, hey, you know what? Guess what?
Not
paying rent. You can't evict me. Iowa put into their moratorium law, like, you're right, you can't. But as soon as this day hits, everything...
You owe everything that you didn't pay.
Everything you didn't pay comes due at this time, and they can evict the hell out of you. Or if you're on a month-to-month lease, they can still cancel you, get the fuck out type situation.
Nice.
Where Chicago, example, Chicago, man, we're not going to get any sponsors from Chicago. But Chicago is... their moratorium still in effect on some areas, but they had it for months upon months. investors couldn't collect their money. You couldn't evict anyone. It didn't matter if you were this. It was that or another. It was a pro-tenant environment out there, or instead of a win-win type situation between the investor and this. I always took a very hard stance where it's like common sense.
Yeah. Treat people like people.
Yep, common sense
these businesses,
states.
these investors, these agents, brokers, they're still people running business with families to feed and families to attend track meets uninterrupted.
Impossible, but I mean, it goes into our life where we don't have a free moment. I mean, me and Monika during this whole process, I'm stepping outside. We're literally trying to upgrade our phones from one company to the next company.
Man.
And,
so you had 4 hours to spare.
Oh Lord!
No one has the time to.
They needed our attention.
Yep.
The sales reps needed our attentions for driver's license, for social security numbers, for this, and are we make sure we're getting the line set up properly? Are we doing this? Because we had 9 lines that were getting transferred from the business to whatever not.
Yep.
And man, we couldn't. No one cared. I mean, the other realtor side did not care what we had going on. I'm just like, man, as soon as I'm down here, I'm going to basketball tryouts. He's like, so you're going to talk to me in the middle of basketball? I'm the coach.
Yeah, I have more than one hat. I'm not just you're a broker, you're a guy, you're a seller. Like, I am more than that.
So I mean,
terrible. I get frustrated, and I'm just like, oh my god, just turn your phone off.
Yeah,
like, be done with it all day.
We definitely can't do that.
I want an hour. Like,
I am the guy that panics when my phone is off because I'm like, I am missing so much money from my phone being off. But at the same time,
sleep, and he's back at it.
Yeah, I gotta watch my phones around Monika because Monika will literally hold them hostage. Like, I don't know where your phone's at. Why you seriously? It's missing.
Get that once.
Once was enough.
Yep, I learned my lesson.
Learn my lesson. Watch your phones.
All right, next week we got some options. We're gonna either talk about some legal stuff that'll be fun and very educational. We might have a returning guest, or we might have a new guest. We'll figure it out. But next week's going to be good.
Next week's going to be great. Yep.
This week was good.
What's that?
You tell us. Talk to him. You going to get your hair done? She's like, don't put me on camera.
I don't. It's my hair. Don't. Why you gotta say
fine. That? I think it looks fine. All right. 1792. It's top tier. It gets
and I also picked the next whiskey.
You get to pick the next one, huh?
Mm-hmm. I like it. So we going to have Monika on? All right, it's happening. We gonna talk. All right. Thank you for another episode of Whiskey
and Real Estate.
Not your part.
That's how we're ending it. Not your part.